that's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again? You know, you gotta be able, if you can't put in the seats, you're gonna get fired. You know.
40 fight, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's gonna win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
Weight gain. So Israel Majamov says that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mike Tyson gave his perspective after working with Terence Crawford, stressing how vital it is to stay composed before stepping into a massive showdown with Canelo. Tyson explained that the spotlight brings enormous pressure, but the real fight often happens in the mind. If Crawford can keep his emotions steady and not get swallowed by the moment, Tyson believes he'll be able to showcase his full skill set and make victory look far less complicated.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody think pressure's like getting on, staying on. Pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
it's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl. I see everything.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? Because I'm sweating like a pit with one hole up here.
You're sweating.
We will get you one.
You're sweating.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
Exactly. So, Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you, you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, who once stepped into the ring with Canelo Alvarez himself, recognizes just how massive a potential showdown between Canelo and Terence Crawford would be. Khan praises Canelo's greatness and unmatched experience, but also highlights Crawford's genuine punching power. With Crawford moving up in weight and adapting well to the division, Khan sees him as stronger than ever, though he insists this isn't a one-sided matchup. Both men bring elite skill sets that can change a fight in an instant. For Khan, this isn't just another bout. It's a meeting of two extraordinary fighters where a single moment could decide everything. While he respects Canelo's proven dominance at higher weights, Khan warns that Crawford's adaptability and hunger to rise to new challenges make the outcome far from certain.
He did that to Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot.
We're not catching and shoot.
Make me think.
We're not catching and shoot.
We're catching and resetting and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner. I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, "Sean, tell me what's wrong." I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, "Your legs kind of tight." He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
There's a habit problem.
He said, "All right, we're not gonna use our legs so much this round." And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not supposed to wear these shots.
Yeah. So to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes, ow.
Where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
lost the round.
Whatever. Hello.
I don't even know what round it is. Chill out.
You don't even know what round it is for this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast the week of Crawford versus Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford. Takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff. And
analysts have been quick to raise questions about Crawford's age and his experience at the higher weight classes. By the time a clash with Canelo could take place, Crawford would be 38 years old, a stage where even elite fighters feel the effects of time. Though he moved up to 154 pounds to face Israel Madrimov, many remain unconvinced that one fight is enough preparation for a battle with someone as established at the bigger weights as Canelo.in boxing. Age isn't just a number. It impacts speed, reflexes, and recovery, all crucial when taking on a relentless opponent. Experts note that while Crawford's skills are still razor-sharp, his body may no longer respond with the same explosiveness it once did. That's why they see this as the ultimate test of his career, not only in terms of strategy, but also physically and mentally, considering the stakes and the caliber of the man across from him.
Being successful, September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Madrimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Madrimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Madrimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion, Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his camp have been vocal about their preparation, making it clear they are focused on not repeating the mistakes Jermell Charlo made against Canelo. Crawford is adamant he isn't Charlo. His discipline, style, and ring IQ give him a completely different edge. The strategy his team is shaping relies less on brute force and more on precision, movement, and calculated pacing. Their goal is to frustrate Canelo with sharp defense and then punish him with well-timed counters. Training has been grueling, with conditioning drills and sparring specifically designed to replicate Canelo's trademark power and relentless pressure.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermell Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth
Experts have highlighted the natural risks that come with moving up in weight. As fighters climb divisions, speed and agility often take a hit. Recently, photos of Terence Crawford looking noticeably bulkier have sparked debate, though analysts caution that images can be deceptive depending on angles and lighting. Still, the concern remains. At his age and with added mass, can Crawford maintain the quickness that has long defined his style? Extra muscle may bring power, but it can also reduce stamina and flexibility. Two elements that could prove critical in a fight against someone as seasoned as Canelo.
Man is simply human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Crawford with him looking absolutely massive, but I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course Terence Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Abel Sanchez, one of boxing's most respected trainers, has openly dismissed the notion that Crawford poses a serious threat to Canelo. He went as far as to suggest the fight would look more like a sparring session than a genuine contest, insisting Crawford is simply too small to truly compete with Alvarez. That Sanchez's remarks echo a common belief among many in the sport, that Canelo's natural size, strength, and years of experience at higher weight classes give him a decisive advantage. In his view, while Crawford's skill and talent are undeniable, even greatness can't always overcome the physical realities of boxing.
Crawford, quote, "It will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez." Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, "Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights." And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, "If Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will dictate the pace." Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri sees a fight from another angle, pushing back against the overwhelming hype. While fans and promoters are billing it as one of the biggest events in boxing history, Algieri isn't convinced. He admits the matchup is exciting, but insists it doesn't belong in the greatest ever conversation that, in his view, legendary bouts were defined by evenly matched opponents meeting in their absolute primes, something this fight doesn't fully deliver. Algieri cautions that the public may be overestimating the drama, especially since Crawford is stepping into new territory against a champion who has already proven himself at heavier divisions.
I love it because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, "Man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that can be made." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see. And a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, because, you know, and Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody says it. So thank you.
This guy, he didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
what's up with that bullpen?
Yeah,
all right, I'm out of here.
I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like, I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean, but this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year, to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo, but who knows?
Boxing analyst Showbizy Adult has pointed to the gap in the level of opposition between the two fighters. He notes that none of Crawford's past opponents would likely survive against the type of competition Canelo has consistently faced. The contrast in resumes is stark. Canelo has spent years battling and often defeating world champions across multiple divisions, while Crawford, despite his unbeaten run, hasn't shared the ring with the same caliber of threats. That said, Canelo's track record isn't without criticism. Some detractors argue he has carefully chosen opponents who pose less risk. Supporters, however, push back, highlighting that nearly every name on his resume was a champion or a top contender in their era. By almost any measure, Canelo's path has been the tougher one, stacked with elite fighters across weight classes. Crawford's record is perfect, but the names on it don't carry the same weight.
Name the fighters Crawford fought who would beat Triple G. That Spence that Crawford fought, that Kell Brook that Crawford fought, that Sean Porter that Crawford fought, would any of them beat Callum Smith at 168? I'm not sure how many fighters Crawford fought would beat the Miguel Cotto that Canelo fought. This is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to skill, experience has a lot to do with it. Case in point, you get an Austin Trout, you get a Caleb Plant, you get a Lara, you get a Floyd Mayweather, you get a Bivol. Just those 5, when it comes to experience, gives him the right experience that when he fights Crawford, he's not like, I don't know what this is like. There's not one fighter Crawford fought that would give him the experience against Canelo.
Reports and training footage showcase Crawford's relentless dedication as he prepares for the biggest challenge of his career. His camp has focused on every detail: strength training, high-level sparring, and conditioning drills designed to sharpen endurance for the war of attrition ahead. Beyond the physical grind, Crawford has embraced new methods to adapt his body for heavier shots and longer, punishing exchanges. But the real battle is not just physical, it's mental. His team stresses discipline and composure, knowing that against Canelo, a single lapse can be fatal. The heart of the debate lies here. Crawford must solve the puzzle of Canelo's relentless style. His defense, timing, and movement may be elite, but Canelo has made career out of patiently waiting, punishing mistakes, and breaking opponents down round by round. Against Errol Spence, Crawford dominated, but Spence lacked the size, strength, and strategic patience that Alvarez brings. This time, the margin for error is razor thin.
And that usually breaks them down. So with some fighters, I see is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. He does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you got to realize that he also has hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands and he knows, he's perfected that rolling with the punch thing. He's been rolling with punches like just to take off the steam.
Former world champion Kell Brook breaks down why he leans toward Canelo in this matchup. He respects Crawford's dominant win over Errol Spence, but stresses a key point. Spence is no Canelo. The Mexican superstar brings a rare blend of power, experience, and tactical control that Crawford has never encountered. Canelo thrives at higher weight classes, where time and again he has proven himself against bigger, stronger opposition. Brook believes that while Crawford's technical skills are undeniably elite, they may not be enough to offset Canelo's ring IQ, physicality, and ability to dictate the pace that in Brook's view. This could be the toughest fight of Crawford's career, because never before has he faced such a complete fighter, one who holds so many advantages in size, strength, and strategy.
You've got to sway towards Canelo. Crawford's going to have to, move up, and, I knew when I boxed Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion's okay. But when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but, Crawford's very, very, very good.
Do you think Crawford's still got the legs? Obviously, he's very much got great IQ in the ring, but he's very much a good mover as well. Do you feel like he's still got the legs to be maybe out-moving Canelo if he needs to?
Well, I don't know. I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. It's like he's more, he kind of sets his feet. He's just he's cute with how he approaches chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next time.